knowledge and guidance. We appreciate the rich contribution and resilience that First Nation peoples offer to Western Sydney University. Over to Justin. Thank you.
Thanks, Kamalvia. Justine O'Sullivan here, social work program leader for Liverpool campus, undergraduate program. So welcome everyone. I too, I'm on the lands of the Cadigal, Bidigal and Cabrogal people of the Eora Nation on the eastern shores of Sydney, meeting where it meets the Pacific Ocean. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners. Aboriginal land always is and always will be. The learning and connecting can only come from people being prepared to share their knowledge and listen to each other's stories and experiences. There's so much to learn. Through NAIDOC Week, National Aboriginal Islander Day of Observance, and other initiatives, we're hoping to keep working towards a goal of a reconciled nation, one that listens and learns from all voices and thrives together. So just as all the people who've been participating this week, you know that this event only comes to all of us because the huge effort of the Social Work Careers team, event team, thank you Rubina and Kamal, and also the Careers Hub staff who've been amazingly awesome, the presenters here today and all the week. In total, it's something like 18 different presenters have made time to share their wisdom with you. And also the staff of the Social Sciences School, but also most importantly, you guys participating, taking part, asking the questions that need to be asked, the things that prompt each of us to start thinking maybe in different ways than we were fixated on. Yeah, so we hope that you're going to gain confidence and expanded understanding, and you'll be able to hear about making a difference in your work, in your role as social workers. And the next step is ethical, effective, critically reflective practice, but ideally paid. The great thing about Mission Australia that I'm about to introduce is that they have a wide range of roles, both voluntary as well as placement experiences, as well as part-time for students and permanent positions. So it's a really great umbrella organisation that offers very rich opportunities for all of us. So I'm hoping that by the end of this session, you'll really have a sense of where you might strategically aim your efforts to getting work, meaningful development of your career. So I'd like to introduce Daisy Elkazi, who will take over the introductions from this point on. And, oh no, sorry, my mistake. I need to, firstly, the housekeeping we need to reiterate. Rubina, over to you. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Justine. Okay, so there's some things I need to, talk about before we start. We're just letting you know that these sessions will be recorded and we're hoping to make these available via the course sites. During these sessions, we ask you to put your video on if that's possible at all. But if not possible for any reason, we suggest you add a professional photo of yourself to your profile. And in that way, you'll be well represented in the session. And we are hearing from presenters whom may be interviewed by one day soon. So yeah, also we'd like you to change your display name to your full name maybe, yeah, or just your first name should be fine. Also, we would also ask people to mute your microphone while the presentations are happening. Each sessions you will attend, we ask you to please put your name and student ID number in the chat, as this will enable us to provide a certificate of attendance. This will also enable you to be in the running for the lucky Zoom raffle prize of $40 voucher for people who attended at least one of the week sessions. The lucky Zoom winners will be drawn at the final session of the week, 3 to 4 p.m. on Friday. So tomorrow, yeah. If you put your name in the chat, in any session from the Social Workers event, you'll be included in the draw, and we'll send you an email to your student email, advising you if you win. Remember, if you have a question at any time, if you can put it in the chat and we'll ask the presenter during the question and answer session at the end of the presentation. Okay, take it away, Daisy. Thank you.
Hi guys, so I'm Daisy, I'm from Mission Australia. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. All right, can we confirm that we can all see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so I'm just going to introduce my team members. We've got Kat Power, who's a talent attraction manager, and myself, who's a talent attraction advisor. We've got Ludmila, who's a program manager for the Canterbury Bankstown Youth Services. We've got Mark, who's a team leader for the Home and Healthy program. Claire, who's a team leader for the Crossing King's Cross. And Nicola, who's the case manager for, again, the Crossing in King's Cross. So I'm just going to quickly go through us as an organisation, what we do, what our values are, and what we stand for. I'll then go through some advice that we are able to provide, and then pass it on to the managers, the team leaders, and the case manager to just have a quick chat about the different student placement opportunities, what we look for in new graduates, and the different career pathways. All right, so as an organisation, we're inspired by Jesus Christ. Mission Australia exists to meet the human need and to spread the knowledge and love of God. Our vision is to ensure that all Australians have a safe home and can thrive and be the better versions of themselves. And our goal is to end homelessness and ensure that people and communities can thrive. We have our 5 values: compassion, integrity, respect, perseverance, and celebration. We do live and abide by these values. They're very important to us because they define us as an organisation, and we expect anyone that comes on board to kind of have the same mentality we do towards the values. Our 2020 to 2025 strategy, we're focusing on ending homelessness in Australia, so across the board. We want to support people that are in need. We're passionate about helping people to be able to strive and become the best versions of themselves. We are looking to drive excellence by constantly improving the quality of our programs across Australia. And we're partnering to strengthen communities. So we utilize all our connections across the communities to ensure that our clients receive the best care and services possible. In summary, for 2019 to 2020, we have 2,396 staff members across Australia. We have 483 programs, again, across Australia, with 1,249 volunteers as well, assisting us to keep us going. We have 250 partnerships. So that means that we work with 250 different organizations, different community groups, etc., to ensure that our clients receive the best support they can possibly get, and 28 government departments. We have 37,448 supporters. That includes our fundraising team, which kind of work to ensure that we keep going and we don't stop regardless of what happens. We were able to support 167,268 individuals in the last year. Hopefully that keeps growing. Some advice from our team: what the skills and knowledge that we're looking for in new graduates. Great communication skills, very important. Be calm and listen with unconditional positive regard. When it comes to clients, a lot of them are going through their own problems, so we're here to support them no matter what. We're here to lead them down the right path. Critical thinking is also important. Obviously, you guys are from university students, so you know when you're writing your essays that critical thinking, bringing that into your essays is very important. So again, when it comes to getting it into the actual role itself, you need to focus on that and just ensure that you're able to kind of project it forward. Great problem solving skills. Again, that's another important skill you would have picked up in university. Kind of time managing, learning how to prioritize, etc., is also a very important asset. Never be judgmental. Always be truthful, honest, and completely open to everything and anything that might come across your role. I had a caseworker, a peer support worker who's had lived experience that currently works with us, just to write together a little spiel about his experience. He kind of said, as a peer support worker, he uses his lived experience with mental health when he works with his clients, but he only ever talks about his lived experience when it's appropriate. So he's able to draw on his experiences, but never get too involved personally with his clients. So that's an important factor. So communication is playing a big role here, because you need to know when to kind of speak and when to provide the correct advice without getting too connected and too personal with the clients. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to pass it on to Ludmila first and foremost. I'll get her to speak a bit about her programs, what she looks for with graduates, and the different opportunities that she has across her team. So Ludmila, I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Daisy. And before I start, I also would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal land that I'm speaking from, and I'm currently at the land of Bedigo people of Eora Nation. I respect all past and present leaders of this land, as well as acknowledging the emerging new leaders, such as the young people that are from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island background. In saying this, I would like to acknowledge that Daisy outlined some of the trends and some of the skills that we are looking for in this field, and one of the most important one is resilience. On the field that we work with, we constantly meet with quite a lot of vulnerable people that expose us in so-called vicarious trauma, and we also need to make sure that we are supported quite well as well. So resilience and ability to live through all these stories that you hear on the daily basis, it's probably one of also important skills that we are looking for in this field. Honesty is another one that really I feel that this is probably one of the most important one when you work especially with young people. And not to mention that they're vulnerable in that sense. They really like to see the true person in front of them and who is going to support them. So be authentic, be yourself. That is my suggestion that I would like to pass to you. What support we provide to new appointee? We have been supporting quite a lot of students, including quite a few from University of Western Sydney University. Sorry, I just mixed with your old name. But and so far they have been going through quite an extensive experience with us, because I'm fortunate to provide quite diverse exposure to those newly graduates across my service. That includes counseling, includes homelessness, includes outreach programs that we deliver to young people targeting early intervention, includes also gambling and financial counseling, and all these things is really a wonderful opportunity for those newly graduates to learn from. In terms of how we support them, if someone comes to us, let's say the new graduate or doing their student placement, we try to alternate and expose them to different different parts of the service so they can learn different skills. And we have appointed quite a few new graduates so far. So in the various roles, we've got the youth workers from Western Sydney University. We've got a case manager from Western Sydney University. So the opportunities are endless with us in particular. Across Mission Australia, it's a very diverse organization, very rich organization with services that provide support to vulnerable community. I don't know whether I will be able, but I will try. I really would like to share with you the story of one of our young people that actually will provide more information than what I can say. So just bear with me to find out how to share the screen. Maybe Daisy, if you've worked with Zoom, maybe you can guide me.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Just at the bottom of the screen, Ludmila, there's a share screen.
I think
BlackBerry.
sorry to interrupt you, before
Yeah, I've done it.
yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, let me just see. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can.
In Sierra Leone, there was a war going on in our country. I was 11 years old when I came to Australia with my uncle, my uncle's wife, and my sister as refugees. When I first saw Australia, there were a lot of cars. There were more cars than people in Australia. I had to move out of my uncle's place. It was just too overcrowded for me to stay. It was affecting my health. Going to school without food becomes tough. I couldn't focus on my studies. I was just a bit too sad all the time. I was interested in making friends. It was more about just getting by. That was the only family that I have here. I didn't have anyone else to live with.
Overcrowding is one of the hidden sides of homelessness. Homelessness can have many different faces.
At Canterbury Bankstown Youth Service, we provide accommodation to young people who are homeless or at risk of being homeless. I volunteer to work with Daniel. We are from the same country. We normally talk in our own language, which he feels comfortable with. We have that connection. He trusts me. The issues that came up was accommodation, his health, his education, budgeting, which is the economic and financial area, and also to support him to belong because he did not have any idea how to engage with other social groups.
When I moved to the refuge with Mission Australia, I felt relieved. They found me a transitional property. From there, I found private rental. Mission Australia helped with the application. I was able to move in here. The rent choice that I get from family and community services covers almost half of the rent that I'm paying.
Rent choice helps youth between the age of 16 to 24 to get into the private rental market. It enables our youth to be successful in a private rental property because we subsidise their rent.
It makes my job easier to focus on my studies. I'm studying Bachelor of Mechatronics Engineering. I enjoy building things with my hands. I feel secure about finding a job in the future because of the education that I'm getting now. It will give me many opportunities to get a career in my field of study. Now I feel in control about things. I feel less stressed. I have Mission Australia as my family. I also got my church as my family, so that keeps me emotionally attached. It feels like you belong. I've learned to be resilient. I'm going stronger every day. I'm volunteer for Canterbury Bankstown Council. They have a sports youth program. You make friendships and build your life skills. When you make friends, they help you grow as a person. They're always there for you.
Where Daniel is now, we see him as a flourishing, independent young person, and we see him in the near future to be able to manage all by himself.
Daniel has developed a lot. He's different from the Daniel I used to see. Shy to talk, I have to prompt him to say something.
My biggest fear is forgetting where I came from, take things for granted. If you remember where you came from, then you can know what you can do in your future.
Hit the link a little bit to stop sharing. Okay, done. So I will probably wrap up with this because that clip summarizes the work we do and the outcomes that we have with the young people that we work with. We'll just add that this young person has graduated with honors degree with mechatronical engineering. He is living independently, and we can't be prouder of himself. And that actually is summarizing how our young people from the Youth Advisory Group produced another video called From Faith to Flourish. So it's a good indication that yes, they come to us in a really bad state, in a crisis point, that they can't go to any further down. We pick up the pieces together with them and we help them grow. So I will wrap up here, and I will allow someone else to join us as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lucy. Mark, can I get you just to have a quick word and just kind of talk about your program, what you look for in new graduates?
Yep. Hi, everyone. So I'm Mark. I'm the team leader from the Home and Healthy program. So yeah, give you a bit some context. I'll talk about the program a bit first. So with our program, we work with clients, individuals who are either homeless or they're at significant risk of becoming homeless, and they've had some contact with the health system, whether that be through through a hospital or mental health, drug and alcohol. It can be quite a large variety of areas. So I guess the main thing is our main focus is to work with clients to obtain stable long-term accommodation. So, so a lot of the ones when they refer to us, they're either sleeping rough on the street or they're couch surfing. So, we work with them quite intensively, to find a place that they can stay at, they can afford, and it's a stable long-term thing. So it's not just a short-term in and out boarding house situation. So, and by accommodation, I mean, we work in help people find a private accommodation when it's affordable, lower cost rentals, and we'll support them throughout, for up to 2 years, help them maintain it as well. But we also work with people to get linked into public social housing, so Department of Housing, so we work with them often through the whole application stage. We submit it, we advocate on their behalf, and basically try to speed things up to get them in the door, so they're not waiting years and years on the list, as this often happens to people. And we also work with them. Why housing is our priority? We work with them in other areas, like if they're interested in returning to going to work, we can support them in that area. And just other things, like if they want to do volunteer work, other community activities, we'll support them in kind of whatever areas and link them in with the appropriate kind of supports. So when it comes to what skills and knowledge we like our applicants to have, look, something that's very important, especially in our program and probably in almost all of them, is the ability to build strong relationships and also maintain them. So that includes, with the client themselves, because that stage of building rapport is very important. Because if the client feels comfortable with you and they've got to know you well, that working with them is much easier and you can make much more progress because they trust you and they're willing to work with you. But also with relationships, it also means with external stakeholders as well. Because we're constantly doing with other services, government departments, and so for example, social housing, Department of Housing, we're dealing with them on a very regular basis. And look, being able to develop relationships with some individuals there, it helps you quite a bit, when you have someone you can talk to directly rather than just be another name or just someone on the line. So yeah, for me, I think building that ability to build relationships and be able to show that's very important, and it's a very good strength for this role. Look, so there's also other areas that we interested in. As I said kind of previously, time management is very important because we, you work with maybe up to 20 clients, and they all have their own kind of issues popping up at a time. So it's very important to be okay, to determine which ones are the most urgent. Make sure you get everything done in time, because sometimes delaying things can mean they miss out on opportunities. And they also lose a lot of trust with clients as well if you don't get things done when you're meant to. So so that time management is very important. But look, in the end, I think one of the probably the most important thing perhaps is just in general flexibility, because each program has different agencies, different programs have different ways they work. If you have spent time in the hospital sector, it'll probably feel different when you're out in the community with us. They have different models to work from. So I think, I think it's very important, that when someone kind of starts up with us, they're kind of open. Okay, this is how you do things. I'm open. Tell me, and we'll work with that, and you can adjust to the program. So but even different programs within Mission Australia would have different ways of operating. So you kind of need that flexibility to adjust and move around to different things. And another another area of knowledge which you'd like people to have is the knowledge of boundaries with clients, because that is something that comes up quite a bit, a lot. And if you like, and we don't expect people to be experts on that straight away. Like if you talk to most experienced staff members, most of them have that one story when they first started where they did something like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, So, but obviously it's important to know, with clients, especially if you work with them for a long time, some of them, they can feel quite close to you, especially if they don't have many other individuals. So, and it can be hard to say no at times and to kind of show them where the boundaries are, but it's very important to keep that consistent and just be aware of it going into the position, how it is. Yeah. So, so I guess ways that we support, new staff members. Well, like we give them, I'll work basically my program. So I give staff a lot of one-on-one time initially support, because people come into the program with different knowledge, different experience, so I make sure I spend, a lot of time with them one-on-one, being available, just to go over things, if they have any questions. So, I'm happy to always answer questions. So I feel that one-on-one time is probably the best thing to help staff kind of learn the ropes. And especially if they're new to this kind of program, they can ask questions about how you do this, how you do that, and I find that's very important. But apart from that, we also have quite a bit of training options for people. Some of that's online. We also got like face-to-face training, such as certain mental health training, suicide prevention training. It really depends what your role is and what program. But there's a variety of face-to-face training, which is quite effective. People seem to enjoy it quite good, and we also provide things, like clinical supervision, where the team can meet with an external supervisor who's not employed Mission Australia, and kind of work through things and just kind of get things off the chest and talk about them as they need to. Yeah, and we've also got the EAP counselling if people need that as well when they start to help people out. So I guess one thing which I think is very important for people to kind of understand when they start is not to take everything on yourself. Because you often see staff members who, when things aren't working out with the client's going through a crisis, a tough time, they kind of feel like, oh, it's on me, I should be solving this. I think it's very solving everything, but I think it's very important for people to understand you can't solve everything, and you do your best, you do your role, but there's times where not everything is going to work out all the time. So, and I think it's very important to understand, okay, look, it's not a great situation, but I've done the best I can, and with that also understand that the clients do have their own choices as well. So if they decide to do something and you think, oh, this is making it worse, you can accept, well, that's the way it is. I'm not going to take everything on personally, and I know the limits of my role and what I can do, and I've done that, and that's okay if things don't necessarily work out the ideal way. But yeah, so, and that's like I said before, the willingness to learn is also something it's very important with this. So every role is different, and look, so I've worked with people who have been in the industry for 10, 20 years, and they start in this role and they've still got more to learn because, everything's a bit different, with different ways, and when you join up a team with 10 different staff members, all with different experience that you haven't got. So it's very important I think just to try to learn, learn from people around you. So that's the kind of mentality I think is good to come in with that open mind frame. That's about it for me.
Thank you, Mark. Claire, can I get you just to have a bit more input as well as a team leader for the crossing and elaborate a bit on your program?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Claire and I'm the team leader at Mission Australia in King's Cross. And so we have 5 different programs at King's Cross. We've got 3 youth services, the Crossing, Reconnect, Inner City, and we've also got a social worker that sits at the Shopfront Youth Legal Service. So our Reconnect program works with 12 to 18-year-olds and is an early intervention program. We do lots of work in high schools and we try to keep young people connected to schooling and to their families and try to prevent any homelessness or disengagement. The Crossing program, Nicola's going to talk a little bit more about that. She's one of our case managers, but the Crossing works with 16 to 25-year-olds who are homeless or at risk of homelessness, and provides intensive long-term case management. And then the Shopfront Youth Legal Service is a pro bono legal service that works with young people up to the age of 25, and our social worker provides case management support alongside the solicitors to help young people with their legal matters and to achieve good outcomes and address some of the issues that have brought them to court. And then we've also got 2 adult services. We've got an emergency relief program, which offers vouchers, hampers, and sort of crisis assistance to people of all ages. And then we've also got the tenancy participation and community engagement program, which is more of a community development program that works with public housing tenants. So all of our programs are quite different, and we've got quite a diverse, I guess, team of staff here. So people come from community services backgrounds, social science, social work, psychology, and yeah, I guess there's a really diverse skill set in the team, which is a really good learning opportunity to learn from different people's skills. So I think everybody brings their own unique qualities and skills to the team. What do we look for in students and I guess in new graduates? I think, yeah, I echo a lot of what's been said already, but really just open to learning. We have a pretty intensive, induction process, and we get students or new employees to shadow our team, and there's a lot of on-the-job learning. I think it's a very supportive environment at Mission Australia, and that's within our team through supervision, through different training opportunities. We get access to sort of free professional development courses as well. And I think everyone's allowed to sort of develop their interest. If you're interested in a particular area, the organisation is really supportive of people pursuing those goals. What else can I tell you? I guess flexibility, like Mark said, is really important because we work in the community. So most of our work is outreach. So we're out working with young people and our clients, I guess, sometimes in their homes or in cafes, or I guess no day looks the same. So yeah, it's always a very interesting work environment because you just learn so many different things depending on who you're working with. Yeah, and I might hand over to Nicola to talk a little bit more maybe about what it's like when we have student placements and I guess the process that we take to induct people into our place.
Hello, I am Nicola. I'm one of the caseworkers of the Crossing team. I'm one of 3 caseworkers. We do have student placements for people in uni or TAFE or whatever. Part of that process is a lot of shadowing us. So they come with us to meet the young people we work with and see how we work with them. Like Claire said, we do quite diverse case management. So that could be court support or housing, Centrelink, any kind of advocacy or support that young person needs. But a lot of the induction process for student placement is just involved, one-on-one direct support with us. Some of that involves maybe writing our notes for us from that meeting and then taking the time after that meeting with the student to give feedback around note-taking or interactions with clients or any questions they might have had about why we said something or why we did something. I guess because of COVID, we probably haven't had anyone. We've only had one this year, but I can't really speak, I guess, too much about the recruitment stuff. But I guess as someone who did go through studies and get into this work, there are really a lot of opportunities within Mission Australia. I did start at the Shopfront Youth Legal Centre and then with internal advertising moved over to the Crossing, where I've been for 3 years. So it's, great to be able to kind of work out what your interests are and kind of find your feet about what you really are passionate about with work and, because Mission Australia is so big, there are always a lot of opportunities to jump ship or try something different for a little bit of time and see what you do like to do. Yeah, happy to keep going, but I can't really add anything else, I guess.
Thank you, Nicola. Okay, I'm just going to elaborate slightly on the student placement opportunities and the volunteer opportunities that we have across Mission Australia. We don't have a set guideline and rules in regards to both of those things. When it comes to student placements, we encourage students to approach the program directly. Just take with you your university paperwork. You probably get that from the Careers Hub. That kind of says that you guys need to do a few hours here and there with one of the programs. From there, you just go through the process of doing a police check, and if you need to work with children, check for the student placements. For volunteering opportunities, we have the opportunities placed on Seek Volunteer or Go Volunteers. And again, you can also approach the program in regards to any potential volunteering opportunities they may have. And from there, again, you'd have to do a police check and a working with children check depending on the needs of the program. I'm going to open the floor for any questions from students that may have come up.
Thanks very much, Daisy. Kath has been powering through the questions that have come up on the chat.
Trying to avoid the spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. I apologise, team.
For all of us. One question that came up was, does Mission Australia offer services for older people? I wasn't sure.
Yes, absolutely. We've got such a wide range of services depending on the need in the community. We've got everything from the LAC services, which is specifically to support people living with a disability. We've got the homeless services, and that will cater for a huge variety of different kinds of people in the community with need, through to drug and alcohol, through to mental health, domestic violence, intensive family support, such a huge range of services. And I think that's probably one of the benefits of Mission Australia, is depending on your area of focus of where you're wanting to take your career, an organisation like Mission is great, because where you may start with one part of the organisation may not be where you finish with your career, because every position that comes up in the organisation is advertised internally, which is awesome, because you get to really see exactly what's out there, exactly the new programs that are coming online. And there is always new programs that are coming online. There's new funders that come on board, and yeah, great to be able to contribute positively in the community.
Absolutely. It really sounds like it's provides a safety net across the whole, the whole society almost. One other question that, so what's been fabulous from what Daisy said and everybody, there's volunteer opportunities, which is great. That's really fantastic. So to look at the website for that. Placement opportunities, which we have a process that's where people have to put in their application through the social sciences placements team first, and they try and seek commitments to placements separately. So the student doesn't have the power to get a placement on their own right. But one question that came through was, just say you're partway through your course, you may not have any other qualification, but you're almost, you're through you're maybe halfway through or something like that, and you're looking, could you look for a paid position with that level of, so you don't have a formal qualification yet? What do you suggest?
Yeah, and absolutely, we do see that at Mission Australia. It will very much depend on the requirements of the program, because when we get funding for a specific program, our funder actually is quite specific in what they require to be able to adequately support the participants that are going to be attending into that program. So I wouldn't want to say categorically across the business, because that would be quite untrue, but different programs have different levels of different levels of complexity that they need. I think I was just in the process of responding, there was a question in around sort of experience as well. And yes, some of our funders, absolutely, we need experienced people because of the complexity of the participants that we're working in. Others, it's not so intensive. So it's an opportunity to be able to learn on the job and be able to really equip new graduates with the skills that they need to be able to build on that knowledge that they need for the industry. So, and I guess that's the other benefit of Mission Australia. We've got such a wide variety of positions. On average, our recruitment team is handling around between 180 and 200 positions across Australia at any one time. So it is really a large volume of opportunities, and that will be everything from casual roles, max term roles, and permanent opportunities right across the business.
That's amazing. So the crux is for people to just keep an eye on what's advertised. Would you say?
Absolutely.
And from having heard the breadth of what is potentially available, do you think, just say somebody's unsuccessful, would there be any scope for checking back in to find out if there's ways that they could have tackled their application differently? Is there that possibility?
Yeah, so we've actually just proudly joined this week a new initiative which is actually starting in the recruitment industry called the Circle Back Initiative. And what that is just demonstrating our alignment to our values, which is treating people with respect. What that means is every candidate who applies for a position at Mission Australia will hear back regardless. So depending on the extent their application has actually progressed through the journey of our recruitment process, depends on the level of communication that they'll receive from the recruitment team. But the good news is, I hear continuously from candidates, I spent hours putting an application together and never heard anything back again. Mission Australia can proudly say we're part of the initiative which promises to respond to every candidate that's out there in the community. What that looks like will depend on the level of the status that the candidate moves through the process. So when it comes to engaging in an interview, you will actually receive a personal phone call to let you know either you're progressing or that you won't be progressing, and these are the reasons why. And we really take pride in being able to actually offer our candidates, when they've taken part in an interview, that feedback. I think it's really important for everyone to learn from that process and understand, what am I going to do better next time, or what do I do differently next time to be given the best opportunity.
That's exactly what people are needing. And I think with the new grad, this initiative of having these presentations is trying to sort of demystify what the world looks like in terms, if you haven't worked in the sector. And so to have that feedback is crucial for this, because otherwise people just feel, well, I'm not good enough in a very blanked out way kind of thing. So I think that's so good to hear that Mission Australia is doing that initiative, or part of a broader initiative. Rubina, I can't see, is there any other questions that you think are coming through people?
Can I just say something, Justine?
Go for it. Who's that?
Blessing.
Oh, hey, Blessing. How are you?
Thank you so much, Mission Australia team. Your session has been so informative. However, with what you just said last, you were talking about an initiative that has just been introduced to give feedback on students. I think Justin laid hands on that. That is very crucial, because I myself have applied twice to Mission Australia, and I haven't, I got an email saying I wasn't successful. I was very cold and very sad initially. I sent an email asking the reason why I wasn't successful, but I maybe bounced back, or there was no response to that. But it's good that this is a new initiative that was introduced to give feedbacks on students and how to improve on whatever they have done. And however, for new grads, what kind of role are you advising new grads or those that just finished to apply for? Because perhaps I applied for the wrong applications or the wrong positions, which made me unsuccessful, because I applied for support worker and community engagement facilitator, which probably was not the right role for someone that doesn't have experience. So what kind of role would you advise for someone without much experience and that just finished from uni?
I can answer that one. Thank you, Blessings. So like I mentioned before, we've got such a wide range of different programs, and each of those programs has different kinds of requirements to be successful in those programs. So one of the roles of our recruitment team is really to understand, I guess, exactly what's needed for each of the specific roles that we're working on at any one time. And we really try and articulate that in the advert. So it gives you an understanding of, you know, some roles experience is required. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of the work that we do. Other roles, it's really open for people that are coming with a formal qualification and a great attitude and wanting to learn. So we really try and put that point across clearly in our advertising to just make sure that people do understand. In terms of the specific roles that you've applied for, probably if I could speak to the community engagement, because I know that's a position that I've actually had the pleasure of working on in the past, and that really often does need quite strong prior experience and that ability to be able to work right across the community and really, I guess, be able to utilise and relate back to different services right across the community. So without some of those connections, it's a difficult role to sort of step into from a graduate perspective, because you haven't had that opportunity of, I guess, sort of working in the industry at that time. Does that answer the question?
Thank you.
And I guess
I can jump in, and I can also advise a little bit on this, because yes, we do have to say no sometimes to those applications, because the roles that those candidates apply are there is an expectation of let's say at least a couple of years of industry experience and also qualifications. So my advice to all those graduates is to look at the criteria, the essential criteria, also the skills that are required for this particular position. Sometimes as a new student, probably as a newly graduate, you believe that you've got the academical, let's say, knowledge, but we are looking for something that has been applied. And the same, what exactly Kat says, community engagement, although it seems that it's a role that, oh yeah, okay, if you are an outgoing person, you can fulfill this role, but it does require a strong network already established, so you can complete the expectations. So please do look at the criteria that is always on each application outlined quite well, and also the skills and education that is required for that role.
Thanks, Ludmila. I was wondering, is there anybody on the call who is working for Mission Australia already? Any of the students? Is anybody and saying? I don't know for a fact that there is. I'm just putting a call out there. If you've already if you work or have been able to get a job with Mission Australia, would you voice up? No, we might not have anyone on board. I've just had another question, which is, what about would applications coming from people without Australian citizenship or permanent residency be disadvantaged in the recruitment process?
Let me answer that one. So absolutely not. It will depend on the length of time, though, that the work visa is open for. So, for example, some of our positions are max term contracts, maybe for a length of 1 year or 2 year contract terms. If someone only has a limited time available on their work visa, that's difficult for us to be able to actually prioritise their application. So we would really need to do that matching process to understand what the program is needing and how long. But unfortunately, we don't at Mission Australia offer sponsorship opportunities. We would actually need someone to come to us with the ability to the work visa rights to be able to work in Australia.
Thanks, Kath. I'm just conscious that there might be some other, Rubina or Kamal, did you have any questions that came from the floor before?
Yeah, so like when we apply for the job and it says like full-time work rights or like which visa are you? So at the moment I am on student visa, right? But I'm soon to be graduate. So what I think, and I am applying for a full-time position. So sometimes I believe that I am being disadvantaged because I put there as a student visa, because the recruitment team know that this person has some limited work rights. So how that thing works?
And you're spot on there. That application would be looked at. Coming from my experience in the recruitment team, we would look at that application and say, unfortunately, the requirements of this program require the person to work 38 hours a week. And oh, what a shame, this person has only got the ability under Australian work rights to be able to work 20 hours a week. So unfortunately, those two don't line up. So what I would ask you to do in submitting applications for any organisation and all across the industry would be exactly the same, is really try and articulate exactly what that means. So that the fact that you are on a student visa that will then move to a bridging visa that would likely then move to a graduate visa, it's really important you articulate in that application process, because otherwise you're spot on. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because that basically says anybody on the student visa need not worry about applying until at least February, when they've got their bridging visa or their no, it's not a criticism. It's not a criticism, but I just think that there's a lot of lack of knowledge, and like the university doesn't really provide that next step for people either. You know, we don't provide information around that. So it's, no, it's good to know. Thanks.
Excellent.
So I think we're probably done with our questions. And I just want to leave it with to say thank you most sincerely to Mission Australia for presenting such a breadth of, you know, really showing us the breadth of the organisation, and also the willingness and interest in employing our people. It's really great to hear. And also that there's hope, basically. There's hope for really stimulating wide range of jobs in that organisation. And to students, just flagging that tomorrow we've got even more sessions. So just encouraging you to check in with what is available to book in for the Friday session. That's going to be full on back to back from 10 o'clock till 4:15 at this moment. Was it, Rabina, Kamal, was there anything else that we've missed out on?
Yeah, that's all. I think it was really informative session. I would like to thank everyone, Mission Australia team. I gained a lot of knowledge. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. So thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, team.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone. And good luck, new graduates.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. See you.